Good evening. Welcome to another live episode of the Four Valley Wood Podcast. My guys will hopefully be with me tonight. And on this fresh episode, we have college football recap. Um, Georgia and Texas. That is a conference battle we never thought we would see. You would never think you'd see Georgia versus Texas. Tennessee, Alabama, also a big matchup. NFL, San Francisco and the Chiefs play this Sunday afternoon at the 4 o'clock window on Fox. We're gonna preview that one, and if we get to Mike's BS preseason NBA rankings, and I got a good question or two about this, but of course, this is part of the show. I say, let's go. Hey, yeah. And of course, this is Fort Valley Boys podcast, and we thank you for watching. Um, got a bunch of sponsors that we need to get to, like we always do. Crazy straws. If you're crazy and you got some straws, get your crazy straw. Just for me, if you get gray in your beer and you want to get it out, go ahead and get your aisle for Walgreens or any store. They're gonna have it. Just go ahead and get your stuff from Walgreens. Dax Waving Groom. It's in the red jar, $4. Just go ahead and get your stuff from a beauty supply store. You can get it from there. $4. Mike has waves since 1994. He's bald headed now, but he still has waves. I don't know how he does it. Oh, forgot. We're on Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Sundays when the football season's over with. Pop culture, basketball, movie reviews, that type of stuff. Arizona tea. If you have Arizona tea in your refrigerator, throw it out. Even if it ain't expired, don't drink it. Just throw it out. Just throw it out. You have diabetes in 30 minutes, drink that whole can. It's disgusting. I don't know how folks could drink it. It's not good. Follow us on the book and the tube. Bernard Ingram, buynightshirt.com. Great merchandise. If you Fort Valley, he's from Fort Valley. He's a Kappa Alpha Psi. Got a site where he provides merch for HBCUs and Divine Nine. Go ahead and hit him up. Buynightshirt.com. That's the site. It's on the screen. Buynightshirt.com. Duh. Damon's podcast, Patreon. His page, Chopping It Up, Damon Reynolds. Pop culture, music, and life. What his podcast is about. Hit him up. And of course, our favorite sponsor, Hennessy and Coke, Crown Royal XO, and Ginger Ale. Those are what we call the dark liquors. 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 Dark liquors. So, college football doesn't disappoint because it is our version of soap operas. I'm gonna break down the rankings, top 10 rankings that are right now in college football. Let's go to the college culture poll where Texas is sitting at number one, Oregon is at number two after their win over Ohio State. Penn State jumps to 3, which means they'll be losing in the next 2 weeks. Ohio State is 4, Georgia's 5, Miami is 6, Alabama is 7, LSU is 8, Iowa State, Brock Purdy and Brees Hall's alma mater at 9, and Clemson is at 10 after the early season loss to Georgia. And if you go down a little bit further, you'll see Tennessee at 11, Notre Dame at 12, BYU at 13, and Texas A&M after their opening season loss to Notre Dame, where they lost their starting quarterback. He's back now. They're at 14. Those are the top 14 schools. I want to touch on those 14 schools where those teams have the best chance of making the top football player. That's the AP top 25. I mean, now, if you wanted to go to the coaches poll, and where the coaches where they where coaches sometimes have their GAs, whoever rank rank teams for them. Let's see if it let me go over. Which let's see if this screen dropped it down. There we go. I want to go ahead and make this a tad bit bigger for you guys. This is coaches poll right here, where Texas, Oregon, Penn State, UGA, GUJ is 4, Ohio State is 5, Miami 6, Alabama 7, LSU 8, Clemson 9, Tennessee is 10, Notre Dame 11, Iowa State 12, BYU 13, and TAMU is 14, and Ole Miss is at 5-2 and 15th, and Missouri is 16th at 5-1, a bad loss to Texas A&M. Oh, got a comment already. Corey Green, since Vandy beat Bama struggled with South Carolina, with Tennessee give Bama a second loss. I said at the beginning of the year I could see Alabama losing 3 games this year and not make it a CFP. I like Alabama. I'm a fan of Alabama. I'm not delusional, as some fans are. Folks talk to me crazy, look at me crazy, like Bama ain't gonna lose 3 games. Yes, they are. They're gonna lose 3 games this year. They got a new coach. Yeah, Georgia is 4 in the coaches poll to Corey. If you go back to the AP poll where they really go by, they're 5. So they're around where they should be at. I think this week against Texas, they have to beat Texas. They have to beat Texas, because if they don't beat Texas, and Alabama loses another game, that loss to Alabama is going to be a bad loss. Yeah, if they lose to Texas, it depends on how the score is in that game. If they lose a close game to Texas, they might drop 1 or 2 spots. I can see Miami maybe jumping, but Mario Cristobal is good for a loss. Mario Cristobal is good for a loss. He's good for a fluky loss, like last year against Georgia Tech. I don't know, but if we want to look at the MC, they have a I don't think they got it, but I want to see if they have a predictor for the college. There we go, college football playoff. Let's take a look at this right here, predicting the top 25. Let's see if they have a ranking right now. They don't. Of course, they don't have a bracket. There's just an article about teams where they're ranked at. I want to see a bracket. I'm a bracket person. I don't really look at this article now. There's no bracket on this article. It's a long word salad. Which is aggravating. I want to see a bracket. Right now, to me, it's a little too early to do a bracket, but I want to see how the bracket will look. Let's minimize this a little bit so I can get to a bracket. It's at 250. Let's see standings. As a predictor, ESPN. You did a whole show yesterday. On the brackets and possible things right now. How do you beat Texas, since they are clearly the most all around team right now? Good question, Corey. How you beat Texas? Like eating an elephant, very slowly. You got to remember who the coach is. Steve Sarkisian. He made the college football playoff last year. Heck of a recruiter. turned his career around by going by when he got fired from USC, going to Alabama as a coordinator for a little while, then taking the Texas job. Um, Heck of a recruiter, as you can tell. He recruited under Saban, of course. Lane Kiffin is a heck of a recruiter. Kirby Smart is a heck of a recruiter. Um, but if you look at some of the coordinators, if you look at Mike Locksley, who was Mario Cristobal, who went to Oregon, then went to Miami. Mike Locksley, he takes a job in Maryland, but he doesn't get a blue blood or a big time program. I'm not gonna bring Bryce into it, but Lane Kiffin, Kirby Smart, Steve Sarkisian, look where they're at. Ole Miss is a bigger program than Maryland, but we're not here talking about race and nothing like that. But it's just a noticeable trend. Um, Mike's rundown is brought to you by Burger King. Have it your way. Um, Heisman race right now. I guess you could say Cam Ward is in the lead. Um, which they have there's odds futures standings. There's nothing here for Heisman, which is what I really want to see. We'll find something. There we go. Let's share this screen right here. Of course, make this a little bit bigger for you guys to see at home. We'll leave it at 200. Ashton Genty, the running back for Boise State, the loss against Oregon. His worst game of the year, he averaged about 7.5 yards a carry. Just keep that in mind. That's his worst game. They had about over 180 yards against Oregon. Dylan Gabriel, 375 because of the win against Ohio State. When you look at Heisman voters, now they're looking at moments. They're not looking at overall season. You have a decent season, have a moment. Just like the MVP with NFL last year with Lamar Jackson, he had a moment when they beat San Francisco that won him the MVP award. One vote short from being the unanimous MVP. If Dylan Gabriel goes undefeated by going to the Big Ten, you cannot deny that he has a solid season going forward. I can see that. Threw for 341 yards against Ohio State this past weekend and rushed for 32 yards. He has a 76% completion percentage, which is outrageous for a quarterback, especially in college because your field is bigger and throwing lanes are wide open. Travis Hunter left the game early on Saturday night with a shoulder injury. Should be playing. Him and Joe Horn went out in the first quarter. That's kind of what limited Colorado in their offense by losing their top three pass catchers. He was second favorite. It dropped because he left the second quarter on a shoulder injury. He caught a 14-yard catch and got hurt by a Kansas City safety, Daniel Cobbs. Right now, he has 49 catches, 6 touchdowns, 16 tackles, 2 picks, and 4 fumble on defense. He needs to improve on some of those numbers to justify him being a quality two-way player and a definitive candidate. That's all they have right now. I don't see how Cam Ward's not on here. I want to pull up Cam Ward stats. So they just talk about Dylan Gabriel in the conversation. Okay. Just depends on what this team do and what he does against stiffer competition. Right now, we're looking at ACC 4 ranked teams in the ACC. Pitt and SMU have entered the party. Let's look at stats right now. Right now, Cam Ward has thrown for 2,200 yards this season. He has 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, been sacked 8 times, almost 60 yards lost in sacks. 182 quarterback rating, pretty solid. Pretty solid stats. To me, I would think Cam Ward would be number one. Gentry should be in the conversation as well, but he plays at Boise State. And even though they lost, he still ran 180, 190 yards against Oregon. So to me, that should put him in the conversation for top four. Invites to New York for the Heisman. Travis Hunter, like I said, with his stats, 46 catches, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks, forced fumble. He's going to have to show off for the rest of the year to maintain his status or to improve his status from being was number two candidate to dropping down already. Jalen Milroe, his last 2 weeks, he has not been impressive to me. I think the Georgia win was a detriment to Alabama. I think it made them a little hungry. South Carolina put a scare on them. And they play Tennessee this week. Tennessee's always giving Alabama trouble. Remember a couple years ago they lost. I think Bryce Young played and they lost on the field goal in the last minute. At the last second, actually, like Lex kid to win the game. So I think to me, Jalen Milroe is out. Gene T, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, I'll still take Travis Hunter in there. Shedeur Sanders is an option as well too. We'll look at Shedeur's numbers right now. Colorado, they're 4-2. I think they win 2 more games. They should be. I think Colorado 2 more games. I think that's a win for Deion. And the real work starts where you need to start recruiting and replace your son. Shedeur, 2,000 yards, shade over 2,000, 17 touchdowns, 4 picks, 164 rating. Running game is it's a non-factor to me. Look like you got a combined 300 yards rushing. Oh, is that a toe ball? Is that a toe ball? Is that a toe ball? Where is he going? Is he going to Florida State where he should have went, where they should have hired him in the first place? Is that a toe ball? Trevor Hunt had 49 catches, excuse me, not 46. He had 49, 6 touchdowns. Joe Horn Jr., 26 catches, only 1 touchdown. Shepard has 2 touchdowns. So Horn, a little bit more polished receiver than Hunter. I would think he should have more catches, but 49 catches. I want to know how many targets he has. Wish I knew how many targets Travis has. It's not going. Will it show me targets on here? No targets, of course not. But if he caught 49 passes, I would assume that he had about close to 70 targets. Close to 70 targets. Anatole said dogs by 32 against Texas. I'm gonna do my Ocho Cinco child plea. Child plea. Child plea. But the Heisman race, I think it is Cam Ward's to lose right now. Travis Hunter picks it back up after injury on the shoulder. If he's playing this weekend, it's probably a stinger. As long as it's not a major injury, he'll be back. And I think his position should be corner in the league. Let's get to the Big Ten. Big Ten is so stacked right now. Big Ten is a super conference just like the SEC, and teams are just trying to keep up because you're gonna get a majority of your bids come from those 2 schools. Right now in the conference, Indiana is 3-0. They're 6-0 overall. Oregon is 3-0. Penn State is 3-0, but you're waiting for them to lose because they're going to eventually choke. Illinois 2-1. Ohio State 2-1. Nebraska 2-1. Iowa 2-1. Bunch of solid teams until you get down to Rutgers, Michigan State, Northwestern, Southern Cal, Maryland, Purdue, and UCLA. Um, just on a coach watch, I'm thinking that Mike Locksley might be on the clock. Possibly, he shouldn't be. Um, Tua's little brother's going to leave. You should start recruiting last year for his replacement, or going to transport him, build some money up. Um, Coach Fleck in Minnesota, 4-3. They win 2 more games, they'll be bowl eligible. That's going to be a big story for them. Iowa with 4-2. They're always a solid team, but they're not going to beat anybody in that top five. They're not beating anybody in the top five. Maybe going out to the top six in Nebraska. Nebraska might be the one win they could probably get. Everybody else, they're not beating nobody else in that top six. The top five definitely not beating nobody top five. I could be wrong. I'm gonna make that hot take there. But right now, Indiana's not gonna hold that top spot in the Big Ten. I still think Penn State's gonna lose eventually. They're gonna have 2 losses before conference championship. And so he is not going to the Raiders. He's not going to the Raiders with Shador. He's not going to the Raiders. Antonio Pierce just got 1 year. He needs another year, even though he's made that team, even though the comments he made where we got made business decisions as well. They're going to blow that team up. They already started with Devontae being traded yesterday, really Monday night when you think about it. But then they got announced to Tuesday. Deion's not going to Vegas. He does not want to coach in the pros. He does not want to deal with pro players. But if he does, Dallas will make the most sense for him. He has a home in Dallas. He still has property there, so that makes sense for him. There's tax, no state tax location for him, so he can build up his capital in Dallas. But will Jerry want to hire somebody that is more? He's not polarizing, but more popular. But Jerry wants that splashy hire, but he won't be able to control Deion though. That's what he wants. He wants a coach that he can control and take all the credit. I just don't see him going to pro. I just don't see it right now. I don't see him going pro. I don't see him going pro. If he go to Dallas, I'll be shocked. Which leads us to the NFL. Let's go to the standings. I gotta show this. Pause for projection.
Team and Big D. That's what makes this funny. How about the Cowboys? How about the Cowboys? Some way, somehow, when it counts, just wait. They will let you down. The accident, they will mess it up. Just wait. The accident, they will let you down. Just wait. The accident, waiting to happen. It will happen. I'm predicting they're gonna be irrelevant. I'm predicting an absolute embarrassment for the last decade and a half. They make me laugh. All the talent that they have is unbelievable, man. Big D, teasing you. This is what they do. Walking through weed, show up on cue. Accident, something will go wrong. The accident of the big Jumbotron. Accident, gotta recognize it's a black cat running around that franchise. Say with accident, they will mess it up. Just wait. The accident, they will let you down. Just wait. The accident. Waiting to happen. It will happen. How about the Cowboys?
This look says it all this past Sunday of that game. You scored 9 points. Is that what $240 million buy me? Is that what $240 million buy me? $240 million. Is that what it buys me right there? $240 million buys me this right here. It buys me that right there. I am I have no words for what happened to them. 47-9. They scored 9 points. That court turned through two more interceptions. I just don't get it. Let's see what the comments say. Yeah, that was payback for their playoff loss. I knew that. I knew when they played with Dallas, they had to go back to Dallas. They were going to get some get back. They were doing flea flickers, hooking laterals, offensive linemen running routes. And the bad thing about it, we couldn't watch the game because we were in Georgia. We had to watch them Falcons. I think they should make it a rule where the game of the week precedes anything locally, or you put on FS2. Put on FS2. But I did not want to see the Falcons. Falcons beat the heck out of the Panthers, but I did not want to see. I did not want to see the Falcons this past Sunday. I didn't. I did not. I did not want to see the Falcons. I promise you. I had better things to do in my life than watch the Falcons and the Panthers. But we were forced to watch. We were forced to watch that. We were forced to watch it. So
You didn't think you'd see me today, did you? You didn't think you'd see me today. But guess what? I'm
So-
the birthday boy today. And why do I bring that up? All the things going on in the world of football, all the things that's going on in the month of October.
look at the despair on this little boy right here. Look at the despair. Look at the despair. Where Tick at? Reverend T. Reverend T, where you at? Reverend T, where you at, dog? Where you at? Did I even tag you on here? Did I tag you, Reverend T? I probably didn't tag you. This is the feeling of all Cowboy fans right now. This is the look on despair, the look of disgust, the look of anger. We don't bring little kids into this, but just look at that. We'll get back to that in just a second. We'll get back to just a second. There's no need to talk about the Cowboys right now. They have a lot of injuries, to be fair. They have their top three of the top defenders not there. Their number 2 receiver, Brandon Cooks, has been out and had surgery. Don't know how much he'll be available coming later on in the season, especially after down the stretch after their bye. They have the Cowboys need to go 3-3 in the next 6. I don't need to go 4-2 because the Commanders are not going to lose a lot of games going forward. But let's get back to the standings for in the NFL. Let's get back to those standings. Of course, Buffalo's going to win the division. Not worry about that. This is interesting. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, both 4-2. I think Baltimore's going to pull that one out by one game over Pittsburgh. They're debating if they're going to play Russell Wilson. I wouldn't play Russell Wilson. Houston, unless they go into a mid-season swoon, and if Anthony Richardson learns how to pass accurately, they should win the division. And Indianapolis might have a chance to come back. Kansas City coming off a bye, play San Francisco this weekend. That's going to be a tough ask right there. San Diego, still used to San Diego Chargers. The LA Chargers 3-2. Denver's 3-3. They have a half game lead over Denver. Of course, Chargers came off the bye before they beat the Broncos. Raiders, they're going to be in rebuild mode. Just go ahead and you can book it. Philadelphia is basically a full game behind. I mean, look, maybe Yeah, it's a one game back in the win column against Washington, so they're basically like a half game back because they just came off their bye. Also, they struggled. They really didn't do much against Cleveland. Really don't have to because Cleveland doesn't have an offense right now. Uh, Jalen Hurts' first clean game in about 2 years, through through two touchdowns, no picks. The Falcons and the Bucks are tied, but the Falcons hold the tiebreaker over the Bucks over their win about 2 weeks ago. And of course, Seattle and San Francisco, they're in the tie, but San Francisco holds the tiebreaker over their win off of Seattle on Thursday night last week. With that being said, nobody's beating the Chiefs right now. Nobody's gonna beat the Chiefs unless Baltimore gets a receiver or probably a shutdown, probably a solid corner because their back end of their defense is struggling. You really can't run on the Ravens, but you can show throw the ball on. So that back end of the Ravens is a problem. They need to look at some possible trades with possibly Del Pitt from Cleveland or hell anybody that's viable. Um, but right now, Kansas City be the number one seed, Houston be the two, Baltimore the three, and Buffalo the four. Then Pittsburgh, Chargers, and the Colts. They will have the tiebreaker over Denver right now, based on I don't see what based on what though. They both have the same record. I don't see the tiebreaker, but if I had to guess, probably division record. They have a better division record than Denver right now. And we go at unless Jacksonville have a miracle run, then they're Doug Peterson gonna be out of a job. Doug Peterson gonna be out of a job. Minnesota's number one. This is crazy. We got three teams from the NFC North in the top seven, and the Bears are right on the heels of the Packers. I think we'll say the Packers season is Malik Willis going 2-0. That's what say this season. If Jordan Love when they got hurt at the end of that Philadelphia game, I think they should be 5-1. They should be 5-1. But right now, Green Bay, when next time play Minnesota, they have to beat Minnesota. It's going to be in Minnesota, so that's going to be a pivotal game later in the season. The Bucks look good. The Bucks really do look good, but right now, the Falcons have that tiebreaker. They have that tiebreaker. So if we're looking at it right now, Minnesota, Atlanta, Washington, San Francisco will be the top four seeds. Then you will have Detroit, Tampa Bay, and Green Bay as your wild cards. Philadelphia is on the edge. They haven't played Washington yet, so that's going to be a great game. Philadelphia, Washington, historically has been great games. The Rams, I can see this might be Sean McVay's last year. He's going to retire. He's thought about retiring after the Super Bowl. Thought about retiring after last year. But what's wrong with the Cowboys? Jerry Jones. That's the problem with the Cowboys. That's been the Cowboys' problem for years. Jerry Jones. Ever since they fired Jimmy Johnson, we're going to beat on this drum for as long as we can. Since 1990, after the second Super Bowl in Atlanta, he fired Jimmy Johnson because he wanted all the credit. They won a third Super Bowl with Barry Switzer, but it was with Jerry's guys, blah blah blah. And then the Dallas Cowboys imploded after that, as Barry Switzer as the coach, with Switzer as the coach. Um, that's what's wrong with the Cowboys. Now, what's wrong with the Jets? The Jets have an Aaron Rodgers problem. Defense is solid. Defense is top five. We have a 40-year quarterback come up an Achilles injury that has not thrown for 300 yards in 28 games. That's hysterically funny to me. So that's a problem. We got Devontae Adams. What difference is it going to make when Aaron Rodgers is 40 with a busted Achilles? Yeah, it might do something. They might win 9 games, but they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make it. It's probably gonna, if I'm going back up to the AFC, just have a chance, but they got to go to Florham Park and later in the year. If Tua come back, I really don't want Tua to come back. I think Tua needs to go ahead and retire. I'm not telling a man what to do his career, but you've had so many concussions in so short of amount of time. The same year when you had those three concussions, you came back and you were put right back on IR for the rest of the year. So once you get a concussion, they're easy to come back, easy to get another one. Even no matter what precaution you take, even if you try to guardian helmet that they're pushing out there, I just don't see it. Um, Looking up and down at these at the at the AFC conference, I think it's gonna be status quo. I think the Chargers are gonna be a tough out. Indianapolis, Shane Steichen is a very good coach. I'm just wondering why the Browns didn't keep Joe Flacco. I'm thinking probably because Deshaun was felt scared and intimidated by him possibly taking his job. But your contract is dictating your job. So if I'm the Cleveland Browns, Miles Garrett, let's see if I can get you in Detroit for a first, maybe a second round pick, conditional first. Matter of fact, they have one win. I don't think Cleveland gonna go past 4 wins this year. Um, B, you really can't draft a quarterback. I cannot make that thing help robust. Make it smaller so I can manipulate a little bit easier. To go to depth chart. Um, Nick Chubb should be back week 7 from Autocar Red. Um, Nick Chubb should be back. He'll be a starter by week 8, 9. Jerry Judy just got him from Denver like a third, fourth round pick. He'll look good in the Kansas City uniform. Amari Cooper would have been a good option for the Chiefs. I think Chiefs need a receiver. Um, if you go down to the defense, Miles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, those are two stalwarts on the front line. I would try to make a move for one of those two guys. Corner Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome. Those are more guys that I will look at possibly making a move for if I'm a contender. If I'm Detroit, you need to make a move for Miles Garrett or Max Crosby. That's the move you need to make. That's the move that needs to be made. You need to replace Aiden Hutchinson. You gotta replace him. Um, with the Browns, anybody that's watching, Kevin Stefanski, you don't quit because you won't get your money. Jimmy Haslam will have to just fire me. Jimmy Haslam will have to fire me because they're not doing anything. And all this is his fault going back 3 years ago. All that draft capital, you basically built a stick in Houston. So right now, I will look at Miles Garrett and Zadarius Smith. Perfect fit for Detroit. Devin Bush, he was with the Bucks in the Super Bowl run. Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, Greg Newsome, one of those three. Anybody need corner help somewhere, like I know they're not going to trade in division, but that will make the most sense. If I'm also looking at if I'm a team like the Baltimore Ravens, if I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I'm looking somewhere over here at a team that's struggling. Carolina don't have anything I would really want. I need a quarter on the Baltimore Ravens. I won't worry about receiver too much. But if I'm the Ravens, I know my back half of my defense is struggling. This is what I'm looking at right there. Jerry Sneed. I will look at L'Jarius Sneed, see what I'm getting for him. He has no picks this year, no forced fumbles, no pass defended, 19 solo tackles. He's near the bottom half of the league. He got his money at what cost though? I mean, the Chiefs couldn't afford him. I think they could have did some restructuring. I think we could have moved some things around to keep him. But I think the number he wanted, they weren't going to give to him, so that's why they moved off from him and with a trade with to the um, Tennessee Titans. That's somebody. If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I will look at seeing if he's available. I would love to see if he's available for them. Tomorrow's Thursday night game: Denver versus New Orleans. Sean Payton versus his former team. This gonna be intriguing. Very intriguing. Um, Big games this weekend: Houston and Green Bay. I think that's at Green Bay. I think Jordan Love is going to edge that one out. I think I picked Houston, but I just think Jordan Love, that's my preseason pick for MVP. Detroit, Minnesota. I think Detroit's going to get Minnesota. I really do. But the pass rush is going to be a problem with Detroit. They got to replace the Aiden Hutchinson. Figure it out next year. If it's Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, you figure it out next year. You make the money work. You need to be a win now, right now, because I think you guys have a chance to make the Super Bowl. Kansas City, San Francisco. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. Point blank. Period. I don't care. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. Not one bit. Mm-mm. No, sir. You can have I'll take Patrick Mahomes any day of the week. Um, let's go to our power rankings in the NBA. Let's go ahead and switch to NBA. Season starts next week. Um, Boston Celtics are number one, even without the unicorn being available for the first half of the season. Always, he won't be. He'll be out in January due to a surgery yet, knee surgery. The Thunder are ranked number two, even though they didn't even make it past Dallas, who beat them in the semifinals. Timberwolves, I think the Timberwolves are going to be sneaky good. I think they had addition by subtraction by trading Cat. Now, stay with me on this. I think Cat is a great player. It just doesn't fit with Rudy. But the problem is you still have Rudy Gobert. But you don't have Cat and Rudy fighting for space on the inside of the paint. Rudy's going to be an issue on defense, on pick and pops, stretching picks. They're going to have to figure something out with him, which means Nas Reed might have to start. But you got Julius Randle who could play. Julius Randle's on his last year's contract, which is another reason why the trade was a win for Minnesota. It frees up cap space so you won't be in attack, especially if your team is for sale. Then this is a move right here that y'all didn't know about right here. That guy right there, Joe Ingles, very solid 3-point shooter, but about 40% career 3-point shooter. You lost Kyle Anderson, I think, to Golden State. Jordan McLaughlin, I don't know where he went. Wendell Moore and Monte Morris. Those are some key losses, but you got Rob Dillingham from the draft, Terrence Shannon as well. Those guys, Terrence Shannon could fill it up. Joe Ingles is a viable free agent. Don't forget Dante DiVincenzo. Dante DiVincenzo is going to be a great spark off the bench. Nikhil Alexander Walker, that's going to be a defensive force off the bench. I just think that Minnesota going to make another move. I think they're going to get inch closer to making their first NBA Finals. Of course, they have the Knicks up here for Tom Thibodeau's coach. They're not going to the finals because it's Tom Thibodeau. He's going to run those guys in the ground. What's going to hurt the Knicks, though, is they lost Bogdanovich. Where did he go? He got traded. Alice Berg, he ain't really got a lot of her. Hartenstein, that's going to be a big loss because you don't really have a lot of size, especially with Mitchell Robinson being out for a minute. Bogdanovich, that would have been a great pickup for him. He's with the Nets. He got traded in the Nets for that Mikal Bridges trade. I get it. You're getting him, but Bogdanovich is a more polished shooter. Of course, Tibbs wants specific guys for specific roles, but you need that shooting to come off the bench. I think he was a good fit with that team. He was a good fit for that next team. Now, Denver Nuggets 7, they really didn't do anything in free agency. Dario Saric, that's not really anything to me. You lost Caldwell Pope and you lost Reggie Jackson in the trade. Um, of course, Deron Holmes towards Achilles, so he's done for the year. So your pick in the draft is already done for the year. But you get Russell Westbrook. You let Jeff Green and Bruce Brown go. You let them go. That was your biggest mistake right there. You got rid of your bench, veteran. Yeah, veteran vet leadership with Jeff Green. Somebody could play the five and the small ball. And Bruce Brown's energizes the bunny off the bench for defense and can spark your offense and can run offense in a pinch. Um, Zeke Najee, you signed him to a $32 million extension. You signed Jamal Murray to an extension. I'm trying to figure things out with them. The Milwaukee Bucks, Doc Rivers coaching them, which means they're not going anywhere. Okay. And Dame Lillard, he's a defensive liability if there isn't one. Brook Lopez is back for another year. Chris Middleton, is he healthy? Can he stay healthy? Not even the fact, is he healthy? Can he stay healthy? Can he stay healthy? Pacers are ninth. They made it to the conference final, but Halliburton was hurt throughout the series against the Celtics. Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell's not in the mood for me. Caldwell Pope goes to Orlando, and Joe Ingles left during free agency to the Minnesota T-Wolves. The Suns, Kevin Durant hasn't made a conference final since he left the Golden State. Grizzlies, they didn't really lose anything. They gained Zach Edey. Steven Adams was gone during midseason. I think Zach Edey is just a taller version of Steven Adams with more offensive repertoire. About 3 to 4 inches taller than him as well too. So he'd be more of a weapon in the paint for offense and defensive purposes. That's the top NBA team in the league. I really don't care. This is a team that's intriguing, which should have made some noise last year. But I think people like DeMar DeRozan, Jalen McDaniels in a trade with I want to say he came from Minnesota, but he was on a big contract. I think there's 2 Jalen McDaniels, Devin Carter, I believe it was Arkansas or Villanova, Providence, and Jordan McLaughlin. I think he came from Minnesota. But you did lose Harrison Barnes in the trade, Chris Duarte, and Davion Mitchell. You traded him. You drafted him early 2020 draft as a lottery pick. Didn't pan out. This Jalen McDaniels, where was he at last year? He was in San Antonio. No, they played Spurs. He was on Spurs last year. So that might be a good move for them, but there's no telling. Everybody's gonna say, "Well, the Lakers need to get younger and they need to build." And they traded away draft capital to get Russell and traded away draft capital to get Anthony Davis. And you lost Taurean Prince to the Bucks. So you got guys that were hurt most of last year. You got Vanderbilt missed the rest of the year, and Gabe Vincent, who was not healthy at all pretty much last year. What is he going to do? LeBron is 40. If he averages 25 this year, I'm going to be shocked. But I'm not going to be shocked because he averaged 40, he averaged 20 last year, 25 last year, 25, 88. You can put it in pen. Don't even put it in pencil, put that in pen. Barring any major injuries, he's going to do 25, 88. On the Clippers, they don't have Paul George, went to the 76ers, Mason Plumlee gone, and Daniel Tice. It's going to be the James Harden show because we can't count on Kawhi Leonard. The Heat culture, you don't have enough depth. You need some more depth. You need some size. You got Alex Burke and free agent from the Knicks. We're gonna see what you have. I don't see. I don't know what he had. And but the Knicks was getting a lot of burn for some reason. He's the Rockets. I think that's gonna be a sleeper team right there. Um, Ime Udoka is a great coach. The Houston Rockets had a chance to make the playoffs, but they were a little bit young and got cold in the end of the season. So we'll see what is going to happen. But right now, if I had to pick my finals right today, I haven't watched any preseason NBA because it doesn't matter. Nobody's really playing. If I had to pick my finals right now, I will pick the Celtics versus. I'll say a rematch. Celtics versus the Mavs right now. But I need to see how the season goes. But I say the Celtics versus everybody else because I think they have a chip on their shoulder with Tatum not playing in the Olympics. Yeah, Jaylen Brown getting snubbed for the Olympics for Derek White. I think Derek White was more of a match for that team. I think Jason Tatum was not a match for the roster they had, which is why Steve Kerr did what he did. He went with guys he trusted in the stretch. He did not trust Jason Tatum because Jason Tatum really wasn't that great in the finals if you look at his numbers. He had one good game, and that was it. He struggled in the playoffs. Jaylen Brown was the finals MVP, but he was solid, but he wasn't outstanding. He was a solid pick for finals MVP and the conference final MVP. I just think the Celtics going to go scorched earth. I think the Celtics going to win 67 games this year without Kristaps Porzingis because they have that much depth. They have that much depth. They have a lot of depth, but I really want to pick OKC. I just don't. I don't know. I just don't trust their coach right now. Diagono. I'm not ready to pick up finals just yet. I just know it's going to be the Celtics versus. Because Nick Nurse is a great coach. I just don't know about Embiid. If Embiid's healthy, if they don't play him in back-to-backs, don't worry about the MVP. Worry about the playoffs. So get him to the playoffs. Folks don't realize he averaged 35 on one leg. If he had both legs, get the Knicks would have made it out of the first round. And then Tom Thibodeau probably would have been fired. Now you probably got one of the stronger rotations defensively for the Knicks, except for Cat. Your 1 through 4 is solid on defense and Cat, and they can cover up for Cat's shortcomings in defense. I do want to see that relationship between him and Thibodeau because Thibodeau coached Cat in Minnesota a few years back, and that was a total catastrophe. But we'll see. But right now, it's the Celtics versus. If I had a default, I'll go with the Nuggets, but I just don't trust the Nuggets. I can't trust their starting lineup. Who's gonna start? Christian Braun and Westbrook gonna come off the bench. That's why I say right now I default to a rematch to the Mavericks and the Celtics, and the Celtics gonna win that in 6. If I had to pick a finals team today, if you forced me to pick a finals team, if you forced me to pick it, I'll pick those two. But the Celtics, I don't see why the Celtics shouldn't win the finals this year with the roster they have, especially with Porzingis come back in January. I don't know. Anyway, those are my takes on the NBA. Guess my guys didn't come on tonight. Nothing new. Like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Once again, I did the solo. We'll be back next week. Hope my guys be with me next week. Till then, just to be safe. Be safe out there. Create some new memories with alumnus and alumni. Hopefully I see y'all guys next year at homecoming. That's our show. We'll come back. We'll give a recap on college football with Tennessee and Alabama, Georgia and Texas. Talk about some more NFL with Kansas City and San Francisco, Minnesota, Detroit, and NBA season will have kicked off on Tuesday night with might sprinkle that a little bit at it, and maybe talk about the NCAA basketball rankings with South Carolina being preseason number 1, and Kansas being preseason number 1, and UConn at number 4. I don't put nothing past Danny Hurley. I pick a 3-peat for UConn. He's a great coach. He's that great coach. I will step my neck and say right now they're going to win the title next year. But we'll get to that. But like I said, one thing for watching the show. We out.